Hi guys, Sergey from NinaVova Custom Jewelry here, and today I want to cover a very complex and interesting topic, and this is what metal to choose for your engagement ring. And since it's very complex and there is lots of different details, I thought it would be a great idea to put everything on the board and just go step by step. We're going to cover what is the different carats of the gold. We're going to cover different colors. We're going to be talking about difference between white gold and the platinum as well. We're going to cover allergies and a few other things. So let's get started. First of all, let's talk about the different carats of the gold. And you might be seeing these numbers, but they might be slightly confusing for you. Carats of the gold refer to how much of the actual gold do we have in the alloy. And carats of the gold actually different from the carats of the diamonds, for example, of the gemstones. Carats in the diamonds refer to the weight of the gemstone, not to the size, to the weight of the gemstone. And they spelled with the C. And the carats in the diamonds refer to the carat, which is the very small seed that used to be used in ancient Greek and Rome to measure the precious metal and the gems. And carat refer, like I said, to the amount of the actual gold in your alloy. In general, we have here in the US 10 karat gold, 14 karat, 18 karat, and 24 karat. We're going to be talking about 14 karat and 18 karat. 14 karat would include 58.3% of the actual gold. And in Europe, for example, you're not going to see 14 karat. You're going to see 583 number. And that's referred to the purity. And 18 karat gold would refer to 75% of the gold. How is this number goes? Like, what is the reference? The reference is actually 24. 24 parts of the gold refer to 100%. So over here, you're going to have 18 parts out of 24 in your alloy. Same over here. 18 parts out of 24. I hope it does make sense. 18 karat will contain less than 40% of the actual gold, and we're not going to be actually talking about it because it's not a very good choice for the engagement ring. You don't want to have your engagement ring made out of something else other than pure precious metal. And in this case, 60% of this ring would be made out of copper, basically out of quarters. You don't want your engagement ring to be made out of quarters, right? And 24 karat gold would be just too soft. And we're talking about the lifetime jewelry here. We're talking about the engagement rings that you're going to wear on a daily basis for years and years. So it's not going to work for us. It works for the pendants or other types of jewelry, but not for the engagement rings. Since we covered that, so let's go forward to the yellow, rose, white golds and talk about them step by step. Let's start with a 14 karat yellow gold. As I said, in this case, in this alloy, we're going to have 58% of the actual gold. And we're going to have 25% of copper, and the rest of it would be zinc and silver, somewhere about 10% each. And it's not like it's supposed to be that way all the time. Numbers can slightly vary. And the other actually important thing, you don't have to remember this number or write them down or anything like that. I'm going to have them in my article on my blog, and I'll link this blog in the description to this video. So for right now, just keep drinking coffee or whatever have you, and try to get the overall idea of what are you buying, because I think it's important. You need to know where your money goes. Next one is 18 karat gold. Over here, we're going to have 75% of the actual gold. and the rest of it would be silver and copper, again about 10%, 12% each. And I wrote it down this way because I want you to see the actual difference. Because when we're talking about the numbers like 58% and 75%, we cannot really see the actual difference. It doesn't sound like much. But when we're going to look over here, we're going to see the circle. It's a circle, by the way. This circle represents the engagement ring, and you can see that in this case, you're going to have slightly more than a half of your ring made out of gold. And by the way, we're talking about the weight. It's not about the volume, this numbers, it's about the weight. So we're gonna have 58% of your ring made of the gold and the rest of it something else, right? Slightly more than a half. And over here, 75%, almost all of it would be made out of gold. Only 25% would contain other metals like silver and copper. And silver doesn't sound as a bad metal at all over here. So that's an important thing to visualize, to get an idea about. The next gold I want to talk about is the rose gold, actually my favorite. It's been around for about 100 years or so. It was actually invented in Russia by the famous jeweler Fabergé, French family name, but he actually spent almost all his life in Russia, working there, making absolutely beautiful pieces. Google it, it's really worth look at it. So what he did, he mixed the gold and copper, which gave the gold a very interesting red pinkish color. And the important thing to notice is actually that when we're talking about the rose gold, we're talking about almost 100 different shades of the metal. It going from the light pinkish color to almost red color. And different brands would have their own colors. For example, Rolex has their own rose gold, which is like almost red. And Tiffany has their own rose gold, which is like slightly pinkish color. And this would happen depending on how much of the actual gold you mixed with the copper. Copper itself, reddish pinkish metal, and when you mix it with yellow gold, you will see the difference. And also you're gonna have the silver in this alloy as well, and this would make the metal slightly whiter, slightly more pinkish, for example. Not for example, it's actually gonna make it that way. So when we're talking about 18 karat rose gold, we're talking about more of a pink gold. When we're talking about 18 karat rose gold, we're talking about almost red gold. And again, this mix can be different, and probably mass market jewelry stores wouldn't really care about mixing stuff. And that's an important thing actually to notice. Like when you're looking at the website of the big stores, you're probably going to see the 3D model, the visualizations of your future engagement rings. It doesn't represent the color that you're going to get at all. You need to look at the actual photos, and you need to look at the photos that wasn't edited, that the filter wasn't applied basically to these photos. So that's when you're going to see the actual color. For us, how it's usually work when the client wants the rose gold, we're asking for the reference. We want them to explain to us what kind of tone they want, and we're trying to get exactly to this tone. It's always a complicated process. Sometimes we have to do this twice, but it's always working out at the end. Next, we have the white gold, and that's actually where the complicated stuff and the fun stuff start happening. White gold is actually an interesting name, and that's a lot in this name, because the actual gold is yellow. There is no such a thing as the white gold in nature. You're never going to see that. And in order to get the white gold, we need to mix the actual gold with the copper, nickel, and zinc in a different proportions. Again, when we're talking about 14 karat gold, we're talking about 58% of the actual gold, and the rest of it, 25% of it would be copper, then about 12-13% would be nickel, and the rest of it zinc. But still, we're not going to have the white shiny metal that you want to see, right? So in this case, always, we're going to plate this ring with the rhodium. And rhodium, that's the liquid metal from the platinum group. It's a precious metal as well. And that's what gives the ring very nice and shiny look. And think about it as, for example, I would cover this pen with the foil. But the foil made not out of aluminum, out of rhodium. That's what we do with the actual ring. We're basically wrapping it with rhodium. Not actually wrapping it, it's just a complicated process that I'll show you later in the video, but you got an idea. Same things goes right over here in the 18 karat gold. We have 75% of the actual gold and the rest of it copper, nickel, and zinc. About 13-14% of the copper and the rest of the zinc and nickel. And same over here, we're gonna have slightly yellowish grayish metal, and this actually alloy would be more yellowish than this one, because logically we have more gold over here. And still we need to plate it with the rhodium to give it a very nice shiny look. And that's the reason actually why I never recommend 18 karat white gold. For me, it just doesn't really make sense, because you're going to be looking at the actual rhodium. It doesn't really matter what's inside of the ring. I mean, you don't want to have made it out of something else, out of the copper, for example. You want to have the actual gold, but you shouldn't really care about how much of this gold is in there, 58% of 75%. And the other reason, it's just practical. Through the years, probably like after 5 or 10 years or so, depending on your lifestyle, what are you generally doing, things like that, the rhodium plating start fading away, it starts chipping away, and you start seeing the actual alloy. And over here, you're going to see, as I said, grayish, slightly yellowish metal. And over here, this metal would be way more yellowish, and it would be way more noticeable. So from the practicality point of view and from the price point of view, it makes more sense to get this gold. And if you actually look at the 18 karat gold, I would probably look straight to the platinum, because you're not going to have that much of the difference between these two, and the platinum would be much better choice. And let's talk actually about it. When we're talking about the platinum engagement ring, it's usually made purely out of platinum. 95% or 99% of the ring would be actual platinum. The rest of it would be probably zinc or silver. We like to mix it with the silver, so in our case it's going to be platinum and a little bit tiny pieces of silver. Still, the platinum itself, like if you Google it, for example, it's a matte grayish metal in nature. And usually our customers want to have shiny rings. Again, we'll have to cover it with the rhodium over here. So all this ring would be plated with rhodium. Same analogy as I said, it would be the same thing as we would wrap this pen with the foil. So it's going to be the same metal right over here. So when someone telling you that they can see the difference between the white gold engagement ring and the platinum, it's not true, because in both cases you're looking at the rhodium itself. Very nice, precious metal, very pleasant to look at, But in both cases, you're going to be looking at the rhodium. You may ask, what is the difference? Why should I pay more? And I'm actually going to have the separate video on this too, because it's a complex topic by itself, going to take probably 10 minutes or so, and by now we probably got at somewhere at 20 something minutes. But in short, the platinum ring would be much more durable than the white gold. And again, when the rhodium plating starts fading away, over here you're going to have nice matte platinum, and over here you're going to have grayish yellowish metal. So and it's not like one better than the other, because the price difference is so big. And I'm going to go step by step and we're going to talk about different scenarios and the different types of rings, different budget of the rings, but that's going to be in a different video, in a separate video. Also, what I want to cover is the allergies. Again, we're going to be talking about it in a separate video. I want to give the space to the professional to talk about it. But in general, you're not going to have the allergy for the actual gold. You're going to have the allergy for nickel or cobalt that's used in alloys, usually to the nickel. And in our cases, since we're making the custom engagement ring, we can always exchange the nickel with the silver. It's going to be a complicated process. It's going to take slightly more time. For us, it's going to be a little bit more expensive, and we never charge for the difference. But when we know that our client has the allergy for the nickel, we'll exchange it to the silver. Probably the mass market stores not going to do that. It's just hard for them to pick one ring from the whole production and made it differently, like the mix alloys differently. But since we make each ring by hand and each ring is custom made for the customer, we were willing to do that. We'll be happy to do that. So now when you know pretty much everything about the differences of the yellow, rose, white, gold, and the different carats of the gold, now you're probably going to have the question like, what is the difference between them and which one to choose? Let's quickly go step by step. In a yellow gold, there is going to be color difference first of all. It depends what you actually prefer. You might prefer, as I do, the very yellow, like almost lemon gold, as it's called in Italy. And my reason is I just fascinated with the ancient jewelry, with the ancient Greek, Roman jewelry, and Egyptians one. And they used to use 24 karat gold. And the closest you can get to this color is with 18 karat gold these days. And you're still gonna have the durability and stuff. They never mixed the gold itself, but we do to give it more strength. If, for example, you like more lighter yellow gold, you want to go with a 14 karat gold. Price difference would be not that significant, and again, to be honest, this price difference would primarily be because of the brand itself, because of the pricing policy of this specific brand. Actual production cost not going to be that big of a difference. It's going to be like 15% or so. So again, this too is about the colors. This too, or right to say this 100 or so. Again, the difference between them would be in color. It's about your personal preferences. You starting with the pinkish gold over here and you go into the red gold over here. You're gonna have slight price difference here as well. I mean, the more gold you have, then more of you will have to pay, obviously over here. But prime reason is the color. And one thing I want to note is that since we're talking about the engagement ring, they do not weigh that much. They weigh about 3% or so. and logically the price difference not going to be significant because we're actually talking about the price difference of 1 gram of the actual gold. So if it's too much of the difference, ask this brand why is that. It shouldn't be that much. About the white gold, as I said, in my personal opinion, there is no really a choice. You should go with the 14 karat gold and not look at the 18 karat gold. Some people would disagree with me, but that's my YouTube channel, that's my brand. And I do not recommend to my client to go with 18 karat gold. And the reason is actually because we have lifetime warranty, and I know that I do not just make the ring and get rid of it. I will see this ring in 5 years, in 10 years or so. And the last time I'll see that ring, then actually better. So I want my rings to be as durable as possible. I want them to be nice and shiny as long as possible. I do know though that I'll have to get it back in rhodium plated sometimes in the future, but that's absolutely okay with me. It's not an expensive process overall. And the platinum, you choose the platinum, and again, I have the separate video on this too, guys. In the platinum, you choose when you're talking about the engagement ring with a price point of 5,000 and up. You don't really looking at it when you're talking about lower budget, and I explain it in the separate video why is that important to keep in mind. About the durability of these two guys, 14 karat gold and 18 karat gold, there would be a slight durability difference when we're talking about identical designs of the engagement rings. If you want durable engagement ring, you should look towards the design more than towards the actual carat of the gold. I mean, carat of the gold is important, but design is more important. For example, when we did the engagement ring for the motorcycle rider, we incorporate lots of different ideas. We make the shank of the ring like thicker. We made the gallery in a different way. We did the bezel prongs. We did many other things. We chose the diamond separately. So it's all about this process. You cannot really get all the durability just strictly out of gold itself. Again, it's important, but design would be way more important. And sometimes people get scared by the durability topic, but when I actually talking with them and asking, what do you do in general? Are you climbing the mountains? Are you riding a motorcycle? Are you surfing and things like that? And if the answer is no, then there is more fear than the actual sense in that. And I'll cover this separately, I think, as well. I hope I covered everything, and this video is reasonably long. If you still have questions, please leave them in the description. I'll be happy to answer, and I actually hope that sometimes in the future I'm gonna have the separate video when I'm just going through your question and answering them in details separately, probably with this board behind me. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.